Good morning, children. Next, third chapter is Information and Communication Technology Skills. That is ICT skills. So, what is ICT? That is ICT stands for Information and Communication Technology. That is computer related technologies. So, in our everyday life nowadays, we use the applications of computer, isn't it? We use all the applications of computers in our daily life. So, what does ICT stands for? ICT stands for Information and Communication Technology. So, ICT stands for Information and Communication Technology. So, ICT refers to all the methods, tools, concepts related to storing, recording, and sending digital information. So, do you know what is digital information? Any information that is stored in computers or mobile phones or any electronic device is called digital information. Any information which is stored in any electronic device is called digital information. So what is ICT? So ICT refers to all the methods, tools and concepts related to storing, recording and sending digital information. What is ICT? It is the methods and tools that are used for storing, recording and sending digital information. So any information that is stored in our mobile phone is a digital information. Any information that is stored in our tab is a digital information. So in any electronic device, information stored is in the form of digital. So information can be recorded or stored in many ways, isn't it? How can we store information? Either we can store the details of students in a written format, isn't it? Handwritten on paper, or it can be written using typewriters and so on. So when information is stored and recorded on electronic devices, it takes on digital form. It takes on digital form. So ICT devices are tablets, smartphones, laptops, etc. So these, when the information is stored on these devices, it becomes electronic, the information becomes digital. So ICT skills help us to communicate, run our business and stay connected with our family and friends. So however, every person needs to acquire ICT skills and build them to stay updated with the latest software and application. So if we are not updated, we will not know the latest technology. So we should always be updated. So computer hardware and software. So do you know what is the hardware and software? Yes, all the parts of the computer, they are the parts of the computer, isn't it? Hardwares and softwares are parts of the computer. So the physical parts that we can see and touch are called hardwares. So what are hardwares? Examples of hardwares. So hardwares are the machine of a computer, isn't it? Our monitor is a hardware. Then CPU is a hardware, mouse is a hardware. So any part of the computer that we can touch and see are hardwares. So there is another important part, that the software. So what is software? Softwares are the parts of the computer that we cannot see and touch, but it makes the hardware work the way we want. So what it helps, softwares make the hardwares to work as we wish. So the monitor is a physical device or the hardware. So when we start a program, for example a game, It is displayed on the monitor. So this is done by the software which displays text, images and videos on the monitor. So hardware would not be able to function without software. So any hardware to function, it should have a associated software installed in the computer. So mobile devices such as smartphones and tablets are also computer systems with hardware and software. So they are simply smaller in size and can easily be carried around. In software, the most important software in the computer is operating system, isn't it? Without operating system, our computer will not function. So this is the software that starts working as soon as we switch on the computer. So the first software that we starts working when we switch on the computer is our operating system. So it displays the desktop on the monitor. Okay, our desktop, what we see, is displayed on the monitor because of operating system. So some of the most commonly used operating system for laptops and desktops are Ubuntu, Microsoft Windows and Mac OS. So mobile devices also have an operating system. So you have heard of iOS and Android. So these are mobile OS, that is operating systems for mobile. That is Apple mobiles have the operating system iOS, and the Android, like our Samsung and other mobiles, have the Android operating system. So all the computer applications such as browsers, games, office tools, etc. also software programs that perform particular functions. Isn't it? Our Microsoft Office, LibreOffice, or our games, everything is a software and they have their own function. So first is starting a computer. So what is the first thing you do after you wake up in the morning? What if your father tells you to do your homework immediately? Can you do it? After waking up, can you immediately do your homework? No. Normally you would do some daily activities and get ready before you start working. Similarly, when a computer is switched on, it performs some basic processes or functions before it is ready to take instructions from the user. So, to start the computer, we have to press the power button. No, we have to press this power button on the CPU. So, this will start the operating system and display the Ubuntu desktop as shown. So, if the operating system is Ubuntu, it will display the Ubuntu. And if it is Windows, it will display the Windows operating system. So, whatsoever is our operating system, when we switch on the power button, it will display our operating system. So next is basic functions performed when a computer starts. Just as we go out about our morning routine without anyone telling us what to do, a computer automatically runs a basic program called BIOS. Computer always runs a basic program. While switching on, the computer runs a basic program called BIOS. Computer runs a basic program called BIOS. The full form of BIOS is Basic Input Output System. As soon as it is switched on or the power button is pushed on. So the first, when the operating system, when we switch on the computer, the program called BIOS automatically runs a program called BIOS. So BIOS first does a self test. It will do a self-test. If the self-test shows that the system is fine, the BIOS will load the operating system. So what the BIOS will do, it will do a self-test, and if this test is fine, that is the system is fine, then it will load the operating system. Operating system will be loaded. So this means that the computer's operating system, if for example Ubuntu, is now ready to take user input. So now user can give their input. Next is login and logout. If our cupboards locked at home, we need to keep our computer locked when we are not working on it. Isn't it? Why do we lock our cupboards? To protect our belongings, isn't it? So when we go out, we lock our cupboard to protect our belongings. Likewise, we should log in and log out to protect our belongings in the computer. So just like we keep our cupboards locked at home, we need to keep our computer locked when we are not working on it. So this will ensure that no unauthorized person can see or make changes to our information. Unauthorized person can see or make change to our information without our permission. So to make sure your computer is logged, you have login IDs and passwords. So a login ID and password is like a key to the lock which allows you to use the computer, isn't it? A password is just like a key to enter your to open your cupboard. Likewise, to open the computer, you should have a password, so which allows you to use the computer. So when you log into the computer with your login ID and password, the computer knows that you are an authorized person. So who is an authorized person? The person whose computer is that. The person who is the owner of that computer is the authorized person and allows you to work on the applications in the computer. So once you finish working, you must log out or sign out so that no one else can see your work. So this is how you can enter login, that is login screen appears like this. You can enter your username and password, then you can log out or shut down. Then what is shutting down a computer? So you can shut down the computer in Ubuntu by clicking the systems button at the top right and then click shutdown button. But in Windows we have to go to the start, then there will be a shutdown option. So it is based on Ubuntu. So in Ubuntu we have to click on the systems button at the top right and then click shutdown. So when you click shutdown, the operating system will close all the applications and turn off the computer. Next is using the keyboard. So we know what is a keyboard. A keyboard is an input device, isn't it? We give input to the computer through the keyboard. So keyboard is used to type text, numbers and commands into the computer. So whatever input is to be given, it is given through keyboard. So it is like this, the image of a keyboard. So here you can see at the top there are certain keys called F1, F2, etc. F12. There will be F12 keys, that is function keys. So let us see what are these function keys. So function keys are labeled from F1 to F12 are function keys, and we use them to perform specific functions. So their functions differ from program to program. If we use one program, the function of F1 will be different, and when we use another software program, the function will be different. That is from different programs, the function keys also, their function also varies, differs from program to program. The function of F1 key is the most programs is to get help on that program. So to provide help, we use the F1 key. So some keyboards may have fewer function keys. So let us see. One is control keys. Then next type of key is control keys. So you can see the control keys are Control and Alt, CTRL and ALT. These are control keys. So these control keys such as Control, Shift, Spacebar, Alt, Caps Lock and Tab are special control keys that perform special functions depending on when and where they are used. So they are control keys. Then next is Enter key. Enter key is also called enter or return key. It is also called carriage return. So there are two enter keys, you can see here, and one will be in the here, this at this position. Also one enter key will be there. So enter key will be here and here. So enter key, the label on this key can be either enter or return. It is also called carriage return. So depending upon the brand of the computer that you using, you use either enter or the return key to move the cursor to the beginning of a new line. What the enter key will do is, it will move the cursor to the beginning of the line. So in this program, it is used to send commands and to confirm a task on a computer. Send a command and to confirm a task on a computer. The next type of key is punctuation keys. So punctuation keys include keys for punctuation marks such as colon, semicolon, question mark, single quotes, double quotes, etc. They are punctuation keys. Then navigation keys. Navigation keys are the arrow keys, that is for up, down, left and right arrow keys. Then the home and page up and page down. See, these are navigation keys. So you can see here the arrow keys, left, right, up and down. Then here the home keys, page, page down, page up, end key. These are all navigation keys. Then the keys such as the home and the end keys move the cursor to the left end of the first line of the text, and the end key will move it to the right end. Likewise, page up will move the one page up and page down will move the one page down respectively. Then command keys. Command keys such as insert, delete and backspace are command keys. When the insert key is turned on, it helps you to override the character to the right of the cursor. And the delete key and the backspace keys are used to remove typed text. So characters and other objects on the right and left side of the cursor respectively. So if delete key is used, it will delete the characters on the right side, and backspace will delete the characters on the left side. Then Windows key. So pressing the key opens the start menu. So it will open the start menu. There will be a Windows key. So it will open the start menu. Next, using a mouse. So a mouse is shown in the figure, is a small device that you can use to move, select and open items on your computer screen. So let us see some of the functions that can be performed using a mouse. So different applications will behave differently to the mouse action. So here we use the File Explorer to see the effect of mouse action. So usually mouse are used for rollover or hover. So the function of mouse is to hover. Like a helicopter, it hovers over the over. Likewise, my mouse is also used to hover the cursor. So some actions can be done by simply rolling over or hovering over an item. The mouse over a file in the File Explorer, it will show the details of that file. Then point and click. So as you move the mouse on your desk, a pointer moves correspondingly on your screen, and the mouse allows you to select an item on the screen. So when you click a particular file, it gets selected. Then drag and drop. To move an item, you need to click it and then hold the mouse button down, move the item to the new location. After you move the item to the new location, you release the mouse button. So this is called drag and drop. So when you drag a file in File Explorer, you can pick it up from the present location and drop it in a new location where you release the mouse button. Then double click. So double click is usually quickly click the left mouse button twice. So when we double click, the file will be open. So which of the following function is not performed using a mouse? Turn on, hover, right click, drag and drop. So we cannot turn on by using a mouse. The other functions are performed by mouse. So what is the term used when you press and hold the left mouse key and move the mouse around? It's called dragging. Then here are the steps that take place when starting a computer. Rearrange the steps in the correct order. So desk appears after login. Login screen appears. Power on self-test starts. Operating system starts. Welcome screen appears. So what will be the first thing? So first the power on self-test will start. Then the operating system will start. Then what happens? Welcome screen will appear. Then login screen appears. Then the desktop appears after login. So first is C, then D, then E, then B, then A. So what is the function of enter key? Enter key moves the text to the or moves the cursor to the new line, or we can submit a option. Then what will you prevent? How will you prevent others from using your computer? You can use passwords and log out the computer system after use. So children, I'm stopping the class.